many of you have heard, the FBI searched former President Donald Trump's Mar-A-Lago residence yesterday. While he was away, the search is reportedly in connection with documents, some of which were classified, that Trump brought with him to Mar-A-Lago following his presidency. Now, Trump called it an unannounced raid. That was his quote, and said that they broke into his safe. Protesters, of course, showed up outside the gates last night to show their support for Trump. Now, this is the first time something like this has happened to a former president. Republicans are reacting, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who threatened to investigate Attorney General Merrick Garland if Republicans take or retake the House. He also said the Department of Justice has reached an intolerable state of weaponized politicization. Say it for me, Tori.
Politicization. You said it right.
Okay, good. Okay, so here's the thing, though. Let's talk about this. What do you all think of this development? And what do you think this means for Trump moving forward? I got an email from President Trump this morning. I didn't know I was part of his base, but apparently I am. And he is asking for donations more than anything, in his words, for this witch hunt. So that's what he is now telling his people, to please help me financially to combat this witch hunt. What would you say, Erica?
Excuse me. I'm confused by a couple things. Isn't the director of the FBI, who actually is a part of this, quote, witch hunt, wasn't he appointed by Trump?
Correct. And a Republican.
Right. I was very confused by all of the calls to defund the FBI. That was so interesting. That whole sentiment of defund the FBI, it's like, isn't that your boy? Didn't your boy just raid you? That's all. I'm just confused. I'm confused by it.
Yeah, and for anyone saying that this is a politicized FBI or Department of Justice, there's never been a Democratic director of the FBI. It's always Republican. This guy, Christopher Wray, was appointed by Trump. And just remember, no one's above the law. So if nothing went wrong, they won't find anything. So to me,
but why would they? Okay, we'll ask. Actually, let's go to our attorney, because we all have questions. I know our viewers have questions too. What does it take for the FBI to get a search warrant for a former president? To answer this and more, we are joined by former prosecutor and veteran trial attorney Mark Eiglarsh. Mark, thank you for being here as always.
Hi, Mark.
My pleasure. You guys are the best. How can I be of service to you today?
Okay, Mark, let me ask you this. What do we know for sure about what it took to get this search warrant? How high were the standards they needed to meet, and what does it mean?
Okay, so we know this wasn't a rogue rookie prosecutor who on a hunch said, let's go see what Trump has.
Right.
This was the highest levels of the Department of Justice that authorized this. Secondly, you had a federal judge sign off on it. And third, if the federal judge signed off on it, we know that there was probable cause found that, number one, a crime was committed, and number two, the evidence of that crime is likely at Trump's Mar-A-Lago.
So, Mark, what exactly is the FBI looking for?
Well, anything that could support whatever crimes they think Trump committed. And I think the front runner, if we're speculating, and the FBI doesn't call me to say what they think Trump did, but if we're speculating, there's a statute that says that you can't remove classified documents willy-nilly. That's not the actual word in the statute, but no. And I think that that's what they're probably suggesting he might have done.
Can I ask real quick to jump in? If he is accused and found guilty of that, can he run for federal office after that, or no?
No. In fact, these are felonies that we're talking about, punishable by up to 5 years in prison. But listen, before you go jumping on, him being stripped of his liberty, understand this wasn't a surprise really to Trump. He's acting like it is. A month ago, agents came to his house and spoke to his lawyers, and they said these are the issues. So it's not surprising to him that they would come back with a warrant. And also, by the way, the FBI didn't just come in and whatever they grabbed was something that Trump had no idea they would grab. They had to first inform the Secret Service before they went into an ex-president's home. So this is not some big surprise, really.
So Tori mentioned the fallout maybe being that he wouldn't be able to run for president. I think that's what all this is about, even the January 6th hearings. I don't know for sure, Mark, and this isn't a really a question for a lawyer, but what on the flip side, we know about the fallout, what if they don't find anything there? What does this do for Trump's base, saying, see, all of this is a witch hunt? Now they're all riled up again.
Well, it's perfect for him. That's what he wants. He perceived as the victim. But here's the thing. everybody wins no matter what. Obviously, they believe that there are documents that he has there that he shouldn't. You don't want the cleaning lady to have access to it. Once it's out of where it's supposed to be, it's out there and it could be dangerous for all of us. So either they find documents that he should never have taken, or they say we acted on information, well-founded information, and there was nothing there. Okay, that's it. We're all safe.
Isn't this a little embarrassing if they don't find anything? All this to do if they don't find anything? Or do you think that they'll find something that's worth it?
Look, I'd be surprised if they did find anything. Trump knew in advance that he was under the eye of law enforcement for this particular issue. I'd be surprised if he left confidential documents that he's not supposed to have in his possession in the very place that he knew they'd come for them. Right? So again, it gives the opportunity for people who support Trump to say, aha, it's a witch hunt, there's nothing there. And again, if you think that there are documents that shouldn't be where they're supposed to be, they have to act upon it.
So then here we are all over again, right? We have more divide, and there's going to continue to be more of a divide between Republicans and Democrats. If they're not going to, it's like, no matter which way it goes, it's still like so let me just ask you point blank, Mark. Do you think, one, they're going to find anything? And do you think that this is going to cause the FBI to prosecute him and we will see him either A, not be able to serve or not be able to become president, or B, be locked up?
Okay, so there's a lot that you just said. First of all, even if a busload of nuns saw him with sensitive documents, the Republicans would say those are actors, they're not really nuns.
Right.
Secondly, I will tell you that getting a search warrant is merely probable cause. That's all it takes. To convict Trump requires proof beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, because you're talking about somebody's liberty. It's one of the highest burdens under the law. So it is unlikely, in my opinion, that you're going to see Trump ever in handcuffs and ever stripped of his liberty. I'd love to see it, but who knows whether that'll ever happen.
So, Mark, I think this is interesting because a lot of Republicans were saying, as we talked about earlier, that this was all politically motivated. But we also brought up the fact that the active director of the FBI was a Trump appointee. So isn't there room for the sentiment that this is all inside, like kind of the equivalent, since he was given a heads up, of someone being pulled over for a DUI and allowed 5 hours to get sober before they take the blood? I mean, does that make, I'm trying to like kind of make that into something. Okay.
I didn't even think about that. I love where you're going with it. And you know what? That's on the table too. That he knew this was all going down and somehow he could turn it around. He's already asked Samantha for donations as a result. He's asking everybody else. He's using it to help, increase his base and his financial status. I don't rule that out. I think that's smart. I think it's a possibility.
Was there also a possibility that he flushed things down the toilet so they were trying to get there fast so he didn't destroy more evidence? Is that also a possibility?
I'll answer it this way. Anything is possible when it comes to Donald Trump. And the fact that he knew in advance that he was under the microscope for this very activity, and his people had the heads up before the FBI came in, you can draw your own conclusions as to what he's capable of doing.
Wow, what a mess. What a mess.
That's what comes with coups, attempted coups.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us as always. We appreciate you more than you know. For more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. Thanks, Mark.